Well, a very warm welcome to you, Nompu. We're here at the CRL offices where different institutions are also weighing in on this issue. And we speak to the chairperson of the CRL, the Commission for Religious and Linguistic Communities. Thank you so much for joining me, sir. Thank you very much for speaking to us. You're also weighing in on what we're seeing here in Gauteng around the intolerance, the criminality and the looting that's been taking place. What are your thoughts about that?
Yes, indeed, Mia. My name is Luka David Musoma, the chair of CRL Rights Commission. Indeed, we have issued a statement in which we are saying that the upheavals, the conflicts that are taking place here are a threat to our democracy and its values. And therefore, we should go into the heart of what are the problems. And there are three things there which are critical. First is to evaluate the action, because action will speak louder than words. Second are the motives, what lies behind what is happening. And third, the consequences. But fourth, more importantly, is the character of individuals that are acting in our country. What is it that constitutes the psyche of South African society? So we are convening a roundtable meeting on the 19th to look at this and make some constructive, implementable proposals to our government as how to solve these problems.
Chair, a lot of people have said that dialogue is needed, dialogue between all the stakeholders, foreign nationals, South Africans, government, policing sector. You know, you've broken down the key issues so well, but how do you think dialogue will work?
Dialogue is not an end in itself, it's a process. What we aim to do is that the dialogue must issue out in the end product. The end product is the actualization of a democratic society in which all its diverse people are tolerated and they can live side by side. And this is the end for which we seek.
But at the heart of it, it really is about socio-economic issues. South Africans are feeling excluded from the socio-economic landscape that we see ourselves in. How do you think that challenge should be addressed, looking at it from a holistic perspective?
Indeed. When people are in one small space, they scramble for survival. The economic issues are critical. But it is important that in looking at the economic issues, it's also important to look at the broader issues. In fact, South Africans are saying, talk for us, speak about us. So this is what precisely we're going to be doing with all stakeholders together and come up with a constructive proposal as to what needs to be done for our future as a nation. Thank
you so much, Chair. We also have the Chair for the Gauteng Traditional Leaders. Thank you so much for joining me, sir. We saw yesterday that former IFP President Mangosuthu Buthelezi had spoken to people in Jamestown, and there had been a resurgence of the protests as a result of that. What are your thoughts around that?
Well, let me first of all state that as traditional leaders in Gauteng, we condemn the violence that we've seen, but also think that social media also spreads fake news in this regard. But we believe that there's a lot of challenges with regards to the issue of foreign nationals that are not undocumented. And perhaps what we saw yesterday in terms of Prince Mangosuthu was a reflection of what society in general feels and thinks around this thing. There is a lot more that I think we need to do to, first of all, engage our communities and get to the heart of the challenge.
And, you know, we heard from the communities at the heart of it is that people are unhappy, they feel excluded. And, you know, a lot of people who were in the hostels were saying that they are getting conflicting messages from their leadership, from their traditional leadership about what the way forward is and how to deal with the situation. What is the straightforward message to your people?
I think traditional leaders have been clear, even in the recent past, where they say that we need to ensure that foreign nationals should be properly documented if they come in the country. and therefore that will alleviate or resolve the issue of conflict that is currently in place. However, traditional leadership and leaders are clear that all Africans belong to one Africa, and I think it is just a function of the processes and those that come here illegally and then commit criminality.
You're quite right. You know, legal foreign nationals are welcome and accepted in the country. What do you think is the way forward? We have heard people say dialogue is very important. What's the way forward?
Dialogue is very important. I think we support the CRL in the measures that they want to do. We think that it should be all stakeholders, but we also must acknowledge that social media, as I indicate, just spreads fake news, which results in filtering or affecting the dialogue that needs to happen. I think we need to have a scientific approach to dealing with the challenges so that when we respond to the nation, we respond with accurate and precise information so that we can move forward.
And you're quite right. There has been such a spread of information on social media, a lot of fake videos happening, and it certainly does contribute to the violence. Beyond a scientific method of dealing with it, how do you think that we could deal with the issue of social media and it contributing to the current violence?
I think more and more people should first evaluate whether the veracity of the information that they receive via social media. There's the first question that a person must ask is whether this seeks to perpetuate a certain narrative. And besides that, I think the media, such as yourselves, should most probably be on top of things. As soon as you see these things, because I have no doubt in my mind that you also receive them, but you should be quicker in deciphering that information and ensuring that you are able to say this is fake news and this is not. I know it is a challenge of social media today that you will not be able to address these issues quick enough, but I think this is the challenge that sits with mainstream media such as the SABC and others.
All right, thank you very much. Again, those issues, the issue of having a dialogue with all the different parties, foreign national South Africans, institutions, as well as government and policing sectors, to try and ensure that talks are open and to try and deal with the underlying socio-economic issues. And again, a word of caution around the issue of fake news, fake video, fake information that's being spread. Words of caution, verifying where that information is coming from. We saw in Katlehong last week where a school was shut down as a result of fake news or a fake video being spread, fake information being spread. So yet again, another word of caution. The CRL is saying that they're coming to the party as a socio-economic institute and they're calling on all various stakeholders to come through on the 18th and 19th to really discuss these key issues around the key causes and dealing with those causes and identifying and addressing the concerns that locals and foreign nationals have with dealing with the recent surge of violence and the intolerance that we're seeing in the country now.
Thanks for that report, my colleague there, Nozintombi Miya. We're going to go for a quick